All right, where was this all year? Padres a sixth straight win, their first walk-off since the opening homestand of the year. Xander Bogaerts in really a wild, wacky game. Blake Snell solidifying the National League Cy Young. Padres winning again, but remaining 5.5 games out with 10 to play. It's the Padres' best stretch of the season. It's coming in late September. As Xander Bogaerts said postgame, better late than never. Or is it for the Padres, who are 4 games under 500? John and Jim with you here on the wrap-up show. As AB just said in the chat, LOL, Jim looks thrilled. All right, we're going to be with you for the next hour. Please subscribe if you are here. Year-round content for Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to anything that's on your mind. All supers we'll get to here tonight. If you're here on replay, thank you for the super thanks as well. If you want to become a member, you can do that. You get emojis and badges custom, and click the join button down below. How about Blake Snell? 7 hitless innings. Padres did not allow a hit until the top of the 9th inning. They walk off with 2 outs, Jim, in the bottom of the 9th inning, sending Petco into a frenzy. There's a lot more to get into today. Dennis Lynn and Ken Rosenthal writing in The Athletic about a dysfunctional organization. Marty Caswell catching up with AJ Preller within the last 5 or 6 hours. But for a moment, the Padres have won 6 straight.
So what was your opinion on them pulling Blake Snell at 100 pitches after 7 innings?
1,000% cool with it. What's your opinion?
My opinion is I'm fine with it too. I think here's one thing. Knowing that Blake Snell is not going to be here next year, knowing that, he's going to win the Cy Young. I don't know if he's never had a no-hitter in his career. He's never even had
9 innings.
He's never even had a complete game in his career. So that would be very tough there too. His season high was 113. He does walk a lot of people. I don't know. I'm fine with it, but I also would have probably been the person to ask him, hey, you want to keep going? And if he said yes, then I would have put him back out there.
He said no.
Did he say no?
Yeah, he said he can't go 9.
Is that?
Yeah. Bob
confirmed?
Melvin just said it. Yeah. He can't. I mean, how could he go 9 if he was at 105 through 7? I mean, it would have taken 135 pitches.
He said, okay. He said, Bob Melvin said his conversation with Blake Snell was quick. Snell told Melvin it would have been tough for him to finish 9. So at that point, there was no reason to send him back out there for the 8th.
There was zero reason. I mean, give me one reason to do it.
Okay.
I mean, that's not my takeaway tonight.
No, I think Blake Snell has had the best season of his career. This is I honestly think this might be better than his first Cy Young. Could be. Set a career high in strikeouts. I think he might set a career high in innings pitched.
Yeah.
His ERA obviously is better, but I don't know. I just look at this year. You could argue. There's an argument there. He's had a great, fantastic season. Dude's going to get freaking paid, bro. And he's going to win the Cy Young. For only 7 other pitchers in baseball have done that in multiple leagues.
Right.
How many pitchers with a no-hitter into the 8th inning do you know that have told the manager, yeah, I'm good?
A lot. It's just modern baseball. I mean, didn't Clayton Kershaw have this with the Dodgers like 10 times in the last 2 years?
I don't know, man. I want
7 innings. He wasn't through 8.
Yeah, I know.
This game was scoreless. There was no guarantee he could have gone 9 hitless innings and he would have gotten a win or a no-hitter.
I just am sure there's a lot of pitchers out there. And maybe Snell is thinking to himself, I can pitch a no-hitter some other time because of how good he can be and everything.
No, he's never going to pitch a no-hitter. He's never going 9 innings, to your point. It's not going to happen with someone like Blake Snell. And he doesn't care. But I mean, how many
I personally
have been this year that aren't combined?
I personally, and you can shit on me, I don't give a fuck. All right. I personally think I don't know. I don't like that mentality. I just don't like just giving up on a potential no-hitter. Like, I'm going till the wheels. I'm literally going out there and I'm trying to get that no-hitter. That's just the mentality I would want out of my pitcher. But I get it. At the end of the day, there's no point in risking potential injury. But I think that's just me. That's just how I feel personally.
You have a no-hitter. I mean, seriously. Like, like what changes tonight if Blake Snell caps off a no-hitter? But is then ineffective.
Okay, fine. No hitters mean nothing, John. I'm
What's
not gonna argue on this. All right. I'm just not. That's how I
Well,
feel personally.
you're the one. You're starting the conversation by questioning Blake Snell's performance tonight. Like it's like his
No,
best
I'm not
performance of the year.
questioning it. I'm not questioning his performance. I'm
You
just saying,
are.
for me, I want my pitcher to be
I'm
like,
giving you my
give me a
opinion.
fucking ball,
I'm
dude.
giving you my opinion.
Okay, and I'm not arguing with you. I'm just gonna let it be.
Okay. I mean, I'm entitled to my opinion. Am I not?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people. I mean, to put it in the chat. What do you think? I mean, I think there's people that agree with you. I think there's people that agree with me. I think if it was 8 innings, it's a completely different conversation. But it wasn't. 105 pitches. That's a lot of pitches through 7 innings. I mean, you just pace it out. He's over one. He would have been 135. That would have been a career high.
For him, for Blake Snell, it is a lot of pitches.
Yeah, it is. He pitched well. I'm with you. I mean, of course, sure, you'd prefer it, but I mean, not at the expense of his. He's going to be a free agent in 10 days.
No, I get it. For Blake Snell, for that player, that's a lot of pitches.
I think if it's Joe Musgrove, it's 105 pitches. I don't think he's finishing 9 innings.
Bro, if Joe's going back out there, and
I mean, but for 2 more innings,
if Joe is a no-hitter, dude's going back out there. You know it.
We say that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like he hasn't been healthy this year. Like, would you prefer to be healthy, or would you prefer to have another no-hitter?
No, I think for Blake Snell, he did what he thought was right, and that's, hey, I did what I did. I'm going to win the Cy Young. I'm going to make potentially $200 million. Like, I'm good. So that's it.
I don't know if that's his mentality. I mean, I think here's a guy that pitched at Dodger Stadium last week. He didn't have to pitch at Dodger Stadium. He was offered to pitch in Oakland. He didn't take him up on that. He's been great.
I'm not saying he's not great, John. I'm just saying, like, in this moment, I think there would be other pitchers out there that would go back out there to try.
Yeah, maybe, and there's probably some that are. I mean, he threw 105 pitches.
Yeah,
he was hitless through 7 innings. I mean, I don't
know.
It's hard to criticize someone for not allowing a hit. It's like if he had allowed a hit, nobody would ever.
I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, like, the mentality of Blake Snell is that's not his mentality.
This is not a critique in any way.
I'm critiquing the mentality, not the performance.
Okay,
the performance was awesome. The performance was amazing, but I can critique a mentality of somebody.
Yeah, and I can tell you that I disagree.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not
disagrees with you.
I'm not trying to argue this. It's not an arguing thing. I just personally, it would have been awesome to see him try to say, F you, go out there and try to finish off a no-hitter, even at 100 pitches through 7. But you're right. That's not the case.
He could have had a no-hitter through the top of the 9th inning, and you wouldn't have even known if he would have had a no-hitter, right? Because the game was, scoreless.
Yeah, and that I think also played a factor in it as well.
Like, yeah, probably.
If it was like 10-0, you maybe try to squeeze out. But at 0-0 game, you don't want anything crazy. You don't want anything wacky to happen to give him a loss after he pitched an amazing game. So because of the score, I think that also does play a factor in as well. So there you go.
Moist disagrees with you. He says Jim's right. Pods are padding stats in garbage time. I'm concerned that this team doesn't have DNA or the DNA to perform under pressure. This run means crap. The run is completely separate from Blake Snell tonight. I don't think Blake Snell is padding his stats in garbage time. I think Blake Snell's had a really good year. You could argue that the 6-game winning streak absolutely may be completely meaningless, but I don't think that has anything to do with Blake Snell's performance down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. I think to put any type of, this was a great win in a vacuum. You had Blake Snell pitch great. Okay. You have finally a clutch walk-off hit that you haven't had since April 4th of this year. I believe April 4th. But anyway, it was when Ha-Seong came at that walk-off against, ironically, the Rockies. And
I've forgotten that.
Yeah, most people have. But yeah, in a vacuum, it was an awesome win. Okay. There was points in the game where you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, they had all kinds of opportunities.
But yeah, it was a great win. I think anything in September, again, you have to take with almost a grain of salt, especially when a team's out of it. When a team's out of it and they start playing well, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Agreed.
And a big reason why they're playing well is
because they're out of it.
Is Blake Snell.
And because they're out of it.
And because they're also out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, I tweeted out, I mean, their playoff chances go down with a win. That's because the Cubs, Diamondbacks, and Marlins win today. Their elimination number, for whatever reason, technically is still 6 at MLB.com. I think it's wrong. They don't have the tiebreaker against the Cubs. They don't have the tiebreaker against the Diamondbacks. They're down to their final, out in the ninth inning as a team for the year. That's basically where they are. Fangraphs gives them a 0.1% chance of making the postseason. We've said this repeatedly. They could literally win their last 16 games. They're 6/16 of the way, by the way, to doing that. So as unlikely as that sounds, who knows? They've won 6 consecutive games. But even by winning 16 straight to end of the year, the odds are they're on the outside looking in. So that's because of the hole they dug for themselves. I guess you'd prefer to win late than lose late. But I don't think this means anything related to 2024. I don't care if they go 16-0 down the stretch or 0-16. I think it has no impact, zero impact on 2024. 16 straight wins or 16 straight losses. I don't think it has any impact on 2024.
No, none. Because if the impact, if the how you finished your season impacted the next season, then this team would have won the World Series this year, or at least been to the World Series. Right. Because you come off an NLCS run and you're like, boom! It's just so many players change, their coaches change, managers will change. Like so many things are going to change with this team in this offseason. That's why it's hard to like parlay a really good September for a team that's out of it into like a great season next year because of how many pieces are going to be changed.
Yep. I mean, it is interesting. I saw Andy Halpern, I think, tweeted out. Snell said afterwards he acknowledged to himself this could be his final start as a Padre at Petco, make it memorable. He thought to himself before the game, and he did. I mean, obviously, 10 strikeouts, 4 walks is the reason why he couldn't go more than 7. He walked 405 pitches is high. That's how Blake Snell pitches. He throws a lot of pitches per inning, and he did once again here today, but 7 hitless in his final outing as a Padre, potentially at home. Sunriser, thank you, says, I'd rather see San Diego win, even though they're meaningless, with my new hope that even years are years San Diego has been good and hoping 2024 is the year. Was that a real quote from Eric Rupner?
I saw from a couple of people on social media, and I quote tweeted it, and yes, apparently it was an actual quote from the Padres CEO about how, hey, they're great in even years.
Was he serious or joking?
That's why I asked for audio. If someone has audio of it in the chat, like I would love to hear it, because if it was a joke,
it must have been a joke, right?
I kind of get it, but like also read the room.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that right now. Nobody. I just,
I mean, you got no giveaway. You got no giveaway tonight. Rich McGuire sent me some photos. He's like, listen, the crowd's light, but it's not that light. They announced 39,000 plus. I mean, you're playing the Rockies on a Tuesday, dead in the water, yet people are showing up. I mean, they're announcing 39,000. I know 39,000 weren't there, but that's what they're announcing. I mean, it's crazy. They're going to get all the way through this year, and they're going to draw 3.2 million fans, despite the fact that they've been out of it for a month and a half. It's really kind of incredible.
He was serious about the even years. I mean, I do get it. I do think there has been a little dip in memberships. You can't tell me there hasn't.
For next year, probably, yeah.
For next year, I do think people are like, I'm sick of dealing with the drama with this team year in and year out. And yeah, next year could be a great year because they're so up and down as a franchise, but I'm not taking that chance with how much money you're asking me to pay.
Right. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. Listen, I mean, I thought the most interesting thing for me was not actually the Lynn Rosenthal piece today. It was Marty Caswell with AJ Preller. Marty did a 5-minute interview with AJ before the game, like a couple hours before the game. That to me was the most insightful piece of information gleaned today. And I thought AJ was speaking from like a different perspective, almost like a different world a little bit. Like, hey, we still think we can put some pressure on, make things interesting. We know it's unlikely, but let's play this thing through. Let's see where, the chips fall, so to speak. I mean, he's under the belief that, maybe this is still a playoff team and maybe that changes the dynamic heading into 2024. It's almost like he doesn't want to believe what we all kind of believe, which is it's a bit of a lost season. Of course, in this 1 in 1,000, if something happens, then something happens. But it's like AJ's unwilling to go to it's a complete failure. We need to hit the reset button. It's a failure. He did not go there at all with Marty earlier today.
He went the complete opposite. He was like, we still have a chance.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, we got a shot.
You heard the same thing from Manny yesterday.
Yeah.
And now you're hearing the same thing from Preller today. I would appreciate some honesty. I would appreciate some awareness of like how bad this season's been to try to fool the fans and thinking that there's a chance is pretty embarrassing. And my like to like don't like I'm not stupid, AJ. I'm not stupid, Manny. Don't try to like tell me I am by saying that you guys have a chance, because you don't. And it might be your excuse to not say anything until they're officially eliminated. But come on, man. You have to acknowledge that this season was an absolute train wreck. I mean, there is no way in hell, even with this nice little run in September against guys, come on. They're playing the fucking A's and the Rockies. I'd hope
they combine for 200 losses.
Yeah, so come on. They're not playing the Dodgers and the Braves and the Astros and the you know, what do I mean? Like, come on. I know they took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, but the Dodgers like really did whatever. Anyway, you're going to get, I hope you get it at the end of the season. I hope Padres fans get some honesty. But does that honesty create change? Apparently it doesn't, because they said the same things in 2021. And, you know, the article today by The Athletic was a Groundhog's Day type of article, that these are the same problems that were here in 2021. And these were the same problems that were here last year, except they won and they made it to the NLCS. So, you know, they overcame, and those issues are still there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they start losing, they did not overcome. So that's basically what you're going to get as a Padres fan. You're going to have years where if this team still has the talent on it, and and Preller gets lucky one year in building some depth and have some guys maybe outperform their contracts or whatever the case may be, you'll get teams that will win. Will they win at a high clip? That's yet to be seen. Hasn't been under Preller, so I can't say that. But you'll get some years here where they potentially will win and, you know, make a little bit of a run. I don't know if they can win a World Series. This team next year, I don't know if they're going to be good or not, but the problems are still there. The problems have been there. They're not going away until Preller is gone, and they can mask it all they want, but those issues with this team, with Preller, are always going to be there. It starts with him. You know, a lot of people were like, why are you guys blaming Manny? It's not all Manny's fault. Well, one, I didn't put all of this on Manny. He is a part of the problem, and he is a reason why his team was where it at this year, along with a bunch of other reasons why. But you have the highest paid player on the team who has had the worst year of his career, coupled that with AJ Preller, who is not learning from his mistakes and continuing to do things that are hurting the franchise. So
yeah, I see. Here's the thing. I learned nothing. I mean, literally nothing. And in the Dennis Lin, Ken Rosenthal piece, with all due respect, it's not further. I thought that they did a really good job with it, but I mean, this is something that we've talked about repeatedly since 2019. So here's the thing. I mean, and AJ said it himself. It's results based. It's going to be based on your performance. They just haven't performed. That's all that matters to me. I could care less about the dysfunction if they win. I could care less about the way he builds from within. If they win, I could care less about the amount of time he spends scouting. I don't care about any of it. I could care less about what percent of his players have been drafted or developed. I could care less. Mm-hmm. If they can win, that's what I care about. They can't win. That's the problem. And they still, you know, have a lot of work to do to finish the season over 500, let alone potentially vie for a playoff spot in the final 10 days of the season. Murray, thank you for the super. If you're here, guys, subscribe. If you're here, thank you for the super chats. Click the $sign below the chat box. Murray says, back to say one thing. Stat of the year, Blake Snell has given up 1 3-run homer the entire year with all the walks and base runners. That's impressive. That is crazy because he has had to deal with base runners all season long. What's his batting average against with men in scoring position? Like negative?
It's like
What's his
low
batting average
100s.
against in general? So, yeah, I mean, he's been brilliant. That's why he's going to win the Cy Young, because he's found a way to navigate all year, despite the fact that, yeah, his walks per 9 are high, but his strikeouts are super high, and he gets out of spots all the time, including tonight with the walks.
Yeah, he's been amazing. Amazing year that, I mean, no way to sugarcoat this. It was wasted. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see Blake Snell in the postseason with the Padres or with any other team because they didn't trade with the deadline. And, you know, he is going out there and doing what he needs to do to get to free agency healthy and to win a Cy Young and give you 6 innings of no runs. And he is going to win it and make a boatload of money for it.
Yeah, as he should. Kind of his job. I mean, if he was doing anything else, he'd probably be doing a disservice to himself. I mean, even if Blake Snell had pitched another 5 innings this year, 10, what changes? You know, for the team, probably nothing. What changes for Blake Snell? Who knows? Maybe he gets hurt. But he's going to make close to $200 million off of this year. So whatever he's chosen to do, it's worked out really swimmingly for Blake Snell. Unfortunately, not for the fan base, not for the organization, not for the team. But that's not Blake Snell's fault.
And to say this again, because if anybody thinks like I changed my mind on this, like I still wouldn't touch Blake Snell with a 10-foot pole in free agency. I would not give him what he will be asking for. No chance in hell. I would not re-sign him to the money that he is going to be asking for.
I agree.
Because this is the best version of Blake Snell. And I don't think it's wise to give that much money to this type of pitcher.
Well, this type of pitcher, if this was every year, it would be wise.
Like career-wise. Like I'm not talking about this year. Like I wouldn't give this money to this type of pitcher this year. I'm talking about like who Blake Snell historically has been.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
It's just too risky. I mean, if Blake Snell had 4 straight years of this,
even that would be Cy Youngs,
then you're like, he probably dude deserves it, right? I want this guy back, right? If you're a Padres fan, but you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's too risky. I mean, they got real holes that are going to include the rotation, unfortunately. But can you throw $200 million at your rotation when you have Darvish and Musgrove, $100 million deals? I don't know. Probably not, would be my guess. So I'd be surprised, very surprised. And Blake Snell's addressed it as recently as tonight. Blake Snell didn't want to be traded. I understand it. Organization could have moved him, and they didn't. That's on the organization, not Blake Snell. Blake Snell can say whatever he wants in the clubhouse. Joe Musgrove can say whatever he wants. Hey, don't make any moves. We'll kick ourselves if we make moves. It doesn't have to do with Joe Musgrove's comments or Blake Snell's. That's on AJ Preller to make moves, and he elected not to. And maybe Peter Seidler elected not to as well. Moises, thank you. Yeah, I remember this. Preller joking around back in February. We make sure we hear what AC's thinking, and we do the opposite usually. He was joking about it, obviously. And yeah, he says, this is our GM. I mean, was that a good reflection on Preller or the organization? No. Could you discount it coming off at NLCS? Yeah, absolutely. He's the GM. But after what's happened here this year, and you talk about like cultural issues, it's probably not a great look to have said something like that.
Do you see Andrew Freeman shitting on Bill Plaschke?
Like David Best say, like we do every day?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, do you see Farhan Zaidi with the Giants shitting on
whomever?
I don't know, Andrew Baggerly or something. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't.
Preller is a unique individual who is not like anybody else in the game at that position. He is interesting while frustrating, while kind of weird, kind of, kind of a, I don't know, just like an enigma. Like he just doesn't make sense. Like he's just like this guy that goes out and plays pickup basketball at the corner at a YMCA. But he's also the president of baseball operations for the Padres. Like,
right.
He's
Does
out.
he make people sign like non-disclosures when he plays basketball with them? Or is there just no baseball talk?
There's probably just no baseball talk. And even I bet there is probably too. But, he's just a weird dude. Like that's just who he is. He's a horrible interview. I mean, it's just
he's not a good interview.
Just an absolute horrible interview. He makes really a point to not answer any questions at all. And it's kind of embarrassing how he gets away with it. So that's who's in charge of things, while Peter is dealing with his health issues, and all the best of luck to Peter, and you hope that he's healthy soon. But while this is going on, I don't see why Preller's not the man in charge of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume along with Eric Grupner on like the business side, but yeah, baseball operations, I would think AJ Preller's in charge. And truthfully, even if Peter Seidler was 100% healthy, I have a pretty good feeling that he trusts AJ Preller to basically make baseball decisions. We could get into the conversation about the extension on Manny Machado, but it doesn't sound like Peter Seidler's involved in every decision with the organization, or if he is, that's somewhat new.
Right.
HBVVPPPJJJJ, maybe related to the other HBVVFFNN. Thank you for the super. He says, should have used Darvish's money towards Snell. I'll say this. What's most interesting here is what you could have gotten Snell for when you signed Yu Darvish to an extension. Like, what could you have signed Blake Snell to in February of 2023? You could have saved $100 million. So if you were choosing between Snell and Darvish and you had a 30-year-old and you had a 37-year-old, it's, probably the wrong decision there. Just like when they chose between Cronenworth and Kim, and they made the wrong decision there too. Not that it's easy. We benefit from hindsight. They don't. But I would argue that, yeah, I mean, if you had it to do over again and you could have signed Blake Snell in February over Yu Darvish, that would have been the obvious, logical thing to do. But that's with the benefit of hindsight.
Do you think Blake Snell has this year if they sign him to a contract this past offseason?
I don't know. Maybe not. But we'll never know.
Yeah, I don't know if he would.
I don't know.
We don't know. I don't know. But he had this year in a walk year. And you got two guys on your team that are going to make a lot of money next offseason, and it won't be with the Padres.
Yes, you're saying Hader and Snell?
Yep.
Yeah, hey, you got to figure out. I mean, you got to figure out Soto. You got to figure out Kim. Not to say either will be back after 2024, but you got big time decisions. Well, players that are really impactful.
Yeah. Well, the biggest decision to start is, what is the deal with Bob Melvin? That is the number one decision that has to be made, because we know that the number one decision that has to be made but won't be made is the future of AJ Preller. That's already been set, I feel like. But what are you going to do with Bob Melvin? Are you going to fire him? Are you going to agree to both part ways? Then what type of manager are you going to hire again? Are you going to hire another first time, yes man? Or are you going to try to find another veteran guy to see if he can be the one to change things, so that's the number one question for me heading into this offseason is, what are they doing with Bob Melvin? Because I get this sense every time I listen to Bob Melvin of late that this ain't it for him. Like, he is over this.
Kind of seems that way.
And he is a great, says the right things. He's not going to say something that's controversial, right? He's going to be professional about things. But I mean, it wasn't a very glowing endorsement of when asked about the relationship with him and Preller today, where he said, yeah, we disagree on things. Like, okay.
Well, he didn't. I don't know if he said that. I actually wrote it down. But I mean, yeah, we get along fine, and we're going to have our differences of opinion, and a lot of times that's healthy. Is the exact quote. I mean,
well, according to Preller, they're best buddies. You hear that? Preller is like, yeah, dude, we talk all the time.
Right. I mean, Preller said they talk 5 times a day.
Or is
We
that
had been
AJ
led to
sending
believe
5?
before
Is that,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, Preller said they talk 5 times a day.
Okay.
So, and maybe he's lying. But we had almost been led to believe that they don't talk. So who knows? Who knows? Iron Lung, thank you. He says, "What's up, boys? Baseball lifer from San Diego with some connections. Of course, no names, but a little birdie told me that both AJ and Bo Mel are gone after the season. We will source this. We will credit you, Iron Lung, when they're both fired at the end of the year. Where to go from there? Go Braves. The day that they're both moved, we're going to credit Iron Lung right here, loyal viewer. Thank you for the insight. We'll see. We shall see what happens at the end of the year.
I mean, you would agree, though, John, that you would be absolutely shocked if this happened, right?
If both go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. I'd put a lot of money on one of them going, and one of them by meaning Bo Mel.
Right. Yeah, I think the Preller thing would surprise me, but I don't know. The more we converse on it, the more we read about it, the less you hear from Peter Seidler. I get it. He's got something going on with his health. Maybe this finish buys me a year, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy to even say that. But can you resell it to the fan base? Hey, we went 83 and 79. Wasn't that bad? I don't know.
Do you think, because right now, I mean, the worst possible sell to a fan base is firing Bob Melvin and having AJ Preller hire a first-time manager again, right?
Yeah. That wouldn't
That's
be
the worst
good.
sell. That's the absolute worst sell. Do you think, and just hear me out, because we know Preller's not going anywhere.
Right.
Do you think the best sell would, and I hate doing this because there needs to be change, and by change I mean Preller needs to go, but like the best sell is to just run it back and keep them both, because at least you still have Bob Melvin, which I think the players respect immensely. There's a small pocket of fans that think Bob Melvin is the worst manager on the planet. Okay. But at least it's easier to sell that than it is to fire him.
I don't think AJ Preller, just hear me out, because I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And hear me out. AJ Preller and Bob Melvin might not get along. That's fine. I don't think AJ Preller would want to move off Bob Melvin, and here's why. It opens him up to losing his job. So when you get rid of Bob Melvin, if you're AJ Preller, not that he should have any cover, but like all the cover's fully lost. You'd have zero places to turn. All the attention is on you. That's why I'd bring him back if I was AJ Preller.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think it provides me with like cover. Like, oh no, Bob Melvin, yeah, he's back. Absolutely.
And then if they fail next year too, then it's easier
Then
to
you
be
can get rid
like
of the
Bob
manager.
Melvin's fault.
Exactly. At that point, I think they'd both be gone. That's my opinion today. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I've said, like, there's been times I've leaned towards like maybe they should just let them both go.
Right.
Even though I firmly stand with like Bob Melvin's not the sole issue and problem with his team.
Of course not.
He's had a bad year managing, no doubt about it.
It got awful. 10 days ago was awful. They were like 11 games under 500, 10 days ago.
Right.
And now they've won 6 in a row and 7 of 8 or 8 of 9, whatever it is. I mean,
they won 2 or 3 against the Dodgers. They swept the A's, and then they took the first 2 against the Rockies.
So what is that? 7 of 8 and 6 in a row. 7 of 8 and 6 in a row. So they're playing their best baseball. I think that's fair. And then it kind of seemed inevitable that this would happen. Too little, too late. It seems like that's what's happening, and we'll see what happens.
I call this to a fucking T.
This is what's happening. It's like pressure off, and all of a sudden, poof, they're good.
Like, you knew it was going to happen.
All right, Patman is critical here. Patman, thank you for the super. I was ready for some Jim negativity and to laugh a little at the Padres, but that Snell take was absolutely unhinged, critiquing his mentality. Whoa. You don't need to reply. We already talked about it. Thank you, Patman. 0074.
You're not going to let me reply?
You can, absolutely, if you want.
I'm not the only one in baseball that thinks that having a guy who...
Well, hold on. You're not in baseball. So who in baseball are you referring to?
Dude, I'm talking. There was recently an executive on MLB radio talking about. I think it was the Zach Gallen went 9 innings through a complete game one night, and it was coinciding with the Blake Snell in AC's article saying that he doesn't care about going 6, 7, or 8. He cares about
Right.
whatever, getting 5 innings and he's good and he just outlast the other pitcher.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That is not the mentality I would want. And I think that's also been relayed. Like, you want your pitcher to go out there and get that extra inning, right? To get that extra, like you want that guy to extend, and you don't want him to play like, I'm done after 5 good innings. Now the world of baseball, you've seen. I mean, look what happened the other day, or maybe a couple weeks ago, when the pitcher for who was it? The Mariners, Kirby.
Okay.
And he openly said, like, in an interview at the game,
right.
how he was upset that he went out there for the 7th inning.
Yeah, like, why would they start me? Like,
because, like, he's like, I'm not that type of pitcher.
Yeah, exactly.
And he got fucking destroyed by former pitchers in baseball, saying how, like, horrible that is to say if you're a pitcher and for a team, right? The mentality of, like, I'm not going to go out there and try to get that extra inning for my guys. Like, I'm good. And that's how I view Blake Snell a bit, of like being a guy that is going to potentially give you, 5, 6 great innings, but he's not going to be that guy that's be like at 100 pitches and be like, as he's pitching an amazing game, to be like, Melvin, Bob, whatever he calls him, Bomel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going fucking back out there and I'm getting an extra inning. Like, I am fucking going back on that mound. I don't know if Snell has that mentality to him. There's times where he's out there, like in the 4th, 5th, maybe the 6th inning, where he's like, yeah, let's go, right? I don't see him being that guy, and it's proven tonight. Like, he's not. I know it's nothing to prove tonight, but
yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. Your point, I think, is valid coming into 2023. I just think 2023 isn't the year to question Snell when he's like top 15 in innings in baseball.
I'm talking about his overall career, John.
Okay, that's fair. But I'm telling you, I don't think this is like I think it's harder to be critical of Snell off this year and a lot easier probably off last year.
Well, I said the same thing about him last year too.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing about him when the first year with the Padres.
Yeah, and that's fair.
So my opinion on him is not changing.
It has not changed despite his Cy Young season.
Amazing season. I have to see it more. Like, if he backs it up next year, then it's like, okay, he's turned a corner. He has turned that corner, and he's that guy that everyone wanted him to be because of how dominant his stuff is. I've always said this. Dude when his stuff is on, it's proven he is the filthiest pitcher in the game. He has the best stuff in the game when he is on. When he does not have control, it's a mess. So,
all right, thank you, Pat, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong to question that, because
no, I also don't. But I don't think it's wrong to just, like you would like to say, like, give him his flowers. Like, this year is he's just earned it. He's just flat out earned it. I think it's absolutely hard to be critical based on. I mean, April he had a slow start, fair, but from there on, it's like he's far and away the best pitcher in the National League. He's got like a 1.5 since the 1st of May. Mark, thank you for your support of this channel. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, who was listening to John and Jim earlier today, and I think might have been with us earlier tonight as well on the wrap-up show. He's our title sponsor. As you guys know, if you have any insurance needs, you got to turn to Mark. He's a longtime supporter of this channel, over 2 years since we launched. We never get this thing off the ground without Mark, and of course, we can't do this without your support, all of our viewers here live or on replay. So if you have an insurance need, I've got my auto, home. No, what do I have? I have an earthquake insurance policy, a life insurance policy, a homeowner's policy with Mark Nimitz. He can save you $750 or more just by switching. He offers anything you need: auto, home, renter's life, condo, earthquake, whatever you need. He can save you $750 or more just by switching. If you want information on a new policy, he'll have that for you as well. San Diegan, lifelong Padres fan, huge supporter of this channel. If you're looking to support a local business here in San Diego, please support Mark Nimitz. Click the link in the description. You'll get to his website. You can get free quotes by calling Mark or by clicking the link in the description. You can get free quotes online. If you have an insurance need, take it from me. He's a great insurance agent. I've had insurance policies with Mark for over 2 years. If you have an insurance need, contact Mark Nimitz.
Yeah, all this information is above my head. mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to him, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap Up Show sent you.
All right, thanks, guys, for hanging out. Please subscribe, and thank you for the supers. Click the $ below the chat box. Padres, bless you. Have won 6 straight. For the first time all year, they have 10 to play, and the final 10 games aren't exactly the most daunting in baseball history. Rockies on a Wednesday afternoon, day off. St. Louis is here. They were eliminated tonight from playoff contention. In San Francisco, the Giants have been awful, and then the White Sox have been awful basically all year long. That's the finish for the Padres. HBVV, thank you again. He says Bob is nice. Nice, do it. This team needs an a-hole. I don't think that's it.
You really think a guy like, do you really want Buck Showalter as your fucking manager?
Right. And no, I don't.
And if you get another guy that, is a hard ass, right? Like Phil Nevin, you think that relationship with him and like Manny would really work?
Right.
And Preller? I mean, no. We knew that Bob and Melvin and Preller weren't going to be the best of buddies at all. I kind of want to go back and watch our because that's when we first started doing the Wrap Up Show on YouTube. And one of our first videos was talking about, I think, the relationship between Preller and Bob.
We should pull that up. That'd be so funny.
I'm pretty sure we both were like, yeah, I don't know if that's going to really like be the greatest relationship in the world,
right.
But yeah,
but whatever. It's Bob Melvin, and you figured they would just be good, which has kind of been the case for part of these 2 years, and kind of not been the case for part of these 2 years. Richard, thank you. For the supers, he likes to say, Dodger fan here, you can't move on to 2024 until the dumpster fire in the front office is fixed first. Canning Bo Mel will be the ultimate Bush League move. What potential manager would take this job? I mean, there's people that would take it. Is it the right candidate? I don't know. You could question that. I mean, 2 of their last 3 managers are Jace Tingler and Andy Green. So you're not getting a manager of the ilk of Bob Melvin, I wouldn't think, off firing Bob Melvin and off an 80-win season. So, I mean, obviously they have someone that's going to take the job. But, yeah, I don't think Bob Melvin, getting rid of him, fixes anything. It goes back to our point. You got the Machado culture thing. You got the Preller culture thing. Why are you getting rid of Bob Melvin?
Right. Yeah.
Because of bullpen usage. We're going to criticize the next manager's bullpen usage. I promise.
Right. I know. That's the thing. If your reason for firing him is that he didn't get enough out of this team, well, it's hard to really say after he took him to the NLCS last year.
Right.
With a essentially probably worse roster.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And if your criticism and your reason for firing Bob Melvin will be his, like you said, bullpen usage, and then a lot of managers should be fired this year for their bullpen usage,
including Dave Roberts for the last 10 years, according to Dodger fans.
Right. And if you're really saying and if these stories come out really that like, well, the front office thought that Bob cost his team, 10 to 15 wins this year with the usage of his bullpen. That is such a scapegoat mentality.
Yeah, I agree.
That I wouldn't put past the Padres. And by Padres, I mean AJ Preller.
Yeah. I don't, even if they do relieve him of his duties, you'd never hear Preller with anything of substance on Melvin, other than we appreciate his 2 years. Like you said on 10, you would never get a real critique, ever.
But I do think you would get reports and people
maybe
saying like the reasons why. And
maybe,
that place is leakier than a faucet.
Loose lips sink ships.
I mean, Preller says nothing in interviews, but man, everyone loves to talk around.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of critiques being written, aren't there? There's a lot of words.
There is, man. There is
a lot of anonymity. A lot of sources,
which is not good for your franchise.
No, it's terrible. I mean, how they have not gotten back to the bottom of that, at least with current players or current executives, is kind of beyond me. Carlos, what's going on, man? Thank you. Great to have Carlos here. Huge supporter of the Padres, longtime supporter of this channel. Just an overall great guy. Carlos, thank you. He says the boys start raking when it doesn't matter, of course. Snell next year will get overpaid and will probably get the money and be the same old Snell by. which is, again, I think our general take. I don't think $200 million makes any sense for Blake Snell either. I wouldn't want to give him 5 or 6 years either. Someone will, and he probably deserves it, but that doesn't mean it's a good contract.
Right. He's going to make this contract off of what he's done this year, I think. And I think the possibility of what he could do, and the possibility and the hope that he can be this guy for the next 3-4 years. I just think that is to give a contract off of the hope that this guy is here to stay for the foreseeable future. That's a tough ask for me. And again, like, to give that much money to a guy that could potentially regress very quickly, they've already made their bed. They've given the money to who they've given the money to, and it's according to a lot of people, like, it's a virtual lock that he's gone.
Yeah, I don't even know, again, if these 16 games have anything to do with the organization's thinking or not. And if they do, it's probably stupid, to be honest. 16 games is less than 10% of 162, and to make any decision based on these 16 games is probably stupid because it's September, and what are you learning from a team that's not going to the playoffs?
You also know, John, that this team, and by team I mean Preller, like, takes these types of situations and views them as the most positive thing in the world. Look at just right before the trade deadline.
Yeah, well, they swept the Rangers, and yeah.
They were, that series was going to potentially determine what they were going to do at the trade deadline instead of looking at the first 90 games of the season.
Right.
So I ain't putting it past them to view these last 15 games of the season as like this see the light turning point, when it's like, did we not watch the first 145?
I think they're only going to do that as a way to PR their way through it. I don't think it's their actual belief. Just like I don't think their actual belief of the trade deadline was they were good. They just wanted to sell this idea that, hey, we're not as bad as you think, and we're going to, quote unquote, go for it. We're not going to sell off. Same thing for me. If they finish 81-81, they'll be like, listen, it wasn't where we want to be, but we went 500 this year, and we're going to be better than 500 next year. That's what it's going to be. They're not going to say, hey, we discount these last 16 games. We think they're meaningless, just like you guys. They're not going to do that. They're going to pretend as if they matter.
No,
and they
it's on my list of excuses that we will hear at the end of the season.
That we finish strong?
Yeah.
Circular, thank you. Circular says, thank you for the super, guys. If you're here, subscribe. If you're here, thank you for the supers. Click the $ below the chat box. He says, what are the odds Theo Epstein comes here? I hope I'm wrong on something like this, but I'd say 0. And there's 2 reasons why I say that. 1, I don't think AJ Preller is likely going anywhere. And 2, I think that if he does go somewhere, I don't see Theo Epstein coming in. I've said before, I don't think it's a great job right now. I also think Theo Epstein has routinely said he wants to be part of an ownership group the next time he's in baseball. That's not going to happen, you wouldn't think, in San Diego. I don't see why Peter Seiler's giving up equity at this point as an owner. Maybe he would for a desire to win. But, I mean, I look at it as 0 for 2024. What would you say?
I think I think the time to make the move to potentially get Theo has come and gone. And that was 2021. If you truly wanted to make this move for Theo, it should have happened 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, who knows where you are right now?
I want to, right. Can I?
Yeah.
I'm going to address
what
this
do you
real
got?
quick. I'm just a negative dude, bottom line. Like, do I have negative qualities about myself? Absolutely.
Negative qualities? Or you like your qualities are negative? Or you're a negative person?
Not negative qualities about myself, but like when I watch sports, I'm a very
bad fan.
I'm not a good fan, right? I always prepare for the worst and I hope for the best, but I'm always in that, like, I try to prepare myself for an eventual loss. And if the team ends up winning, then it obviously surprises me. I'm not a very, like, rah pom poms out type of guy. That's just my fandom. It's my fault. Fair. It's my fault. I suck at it. Okay. But if you're talking about the Padres season, Jimmy, great name, by the way, Jimmy. I mean, what do you want, dude? Like, do you want me to sit up here and on the wrap-up show and John and Jim and be positive when there's nothing to be positive about here? Like, overall, like, there are things to be positive about. Snell, Campusano, like, yes, there's things to be positive about individually. But, like, the overarching thing about this team is a failure. I mean, if you're okay with that, if you're okay with the expectations at the beginning of the year being World Series and now fighting their way to get to 500 is like, okay, I'm sorry, that's not how I'm wired. I'm not wired like that. I can't just completely view this season as like, well, it's okay they finished 500. Like, I'm just not. I try to keep it real as possible. And if you think I'm a negative dude, that's fine. But I kind of view it as like, if the team sucks, I tell you they suck. If the team wins, I tell you, and yes, you're like, well, they've won 6 in a row. They've won 6 in a row and they're still 74 and 78. That's not really something should get excited about.
Right. The expectation is you went to the NLCS last year, go make a deep run, and that's not going to happen. So if you want to keep it even keeled and see it beyond day in and day out, even though we cover this team day in and day out, the truth is the season's been very disappointing. Have the last 6 games been better? Of course they have. What real impact is that going to have on the team now and moving forward is very arguable.
Would you agree with me on Adam that I'm not the best fan?
Yes.
Probably.
But that's okay. I think it's whatever. The way I want to get to this actually from Adam. And Adam, thanks for coming back after last night. But whatever. The way you speak typically, whether it's on John and Jim or here, gets people riled up. So I like it. Because
I'm just
whatever
being real,
it's
dude.
real and raw, and you piss people off, and it's a good quality. But Adam says, and it's not nobody's saying rebuild. I don't think. Have we used the rebuild word recently or today?
There's no. They can't rebuild.
There's nothing to rebuild. But he says when you have a core of 3 to 4 potential future Hall of Famers still on your team, we just need to plug holes with young energy and get 2 pitchers and we roll. Let me just say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, there is 1 future Hall of Famer on this team, potentially 2. Where do you think I'm going? The 1 future is Manny Machado.
Soto.
Where do you think I'm going? Right. There's Soto has a very good chance. I guess I would give it actually 2.5 on this team, but he won't be here next year. And that would be Josh Hader, who has unbelievable numbers for a closer, even historically, right? He's like the closer of his generation, arguably. Yeah, we could argue
outside shot at Bogaerts or not?
I don't think so. We could look at the numbers.
Maybe 3,000 hits
outside, like Snell, outside, right?
Snell, I don't think there's no chance.
Bogaerts outside. Tatis, he could have Hall of Fame numbers. So maybe
if the writers that vote decide they're not a bunch of fucking losers.
But my point is this, Adam, and your point's valid. There's some really high level talent here. I don't think there's more than 2 Hall of Famers, and that's max on the 2024 team. And I think that's Machado and Soto if Soto's still here, right? Because Hader's not here. Tatis maybe semantics, but the PED thing, so that's fair. But I don't know. The Angels have 2 Hall of Famers for the last 7 years together. 8 years.
JR says that I'm not negative analysis anymore. I'm toxic.
We should put a poll in the chat about you. I don't know what it would say. Do you think Jim is negative? I can't wait to see what % of people would say yes.
Is Jim negative, or does Jim tell it how it is?
Yeah, put that.
I mean, toxic. Like, does that mean? Is it
toxic? Like with Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lin are running about this organization,
right? Because I have so many inside sources. Toxic.
What's the comment? You're toxic. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, like that's not negative analysis anymore. It's toxic. I'm curious.
JR, please follow up. I'll put the next comment up here. Please follow up.
Like, am I negative, or am I just like reacting to what I see? James, like Dave Pellet. No, Dave's 1, a Dodger fan. 2, I mean, Dave goes way over. But I think Dave also tries to tell it like it is. I mean, look, dude, just go back and listen to wrap-up shows and John and Jim's from last year when they made the postseason. Like, was I being toxic then? Was I being negative then? I mean, yeah, there was parts where I was upset. It was like annoying if like
no, you
this
just
team
keep
couldn't
it
turn
real.
it
You're just
around.
being honest. You're offering your true opinion. Now, people may disagree with it. I may disagree with it at times, like you disagree with me, but you are offering your actual opinion.
It's an opinion, guys. I mean,
Correct.
toxic is like, I'm trying to think of who is toxic.
You would
Yeah,
say Preller.
yeah, honesty equals toxic, I guess. I mean, I guess I don't know, dude.
Oh man, don't
I'm just not.
overthink it.
I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, I'm not okay, and I'm telling you also too, you shouldn't be okay with this season being how it's going to end with them not making the postseason and maybe finishing 500. That's all I'm saying, and I don't know if people are like okay with that, and they just is like taking that as I'm being too negative and toxic.
Iron Lung, thank you. He says when Bobby Cox retired, Brian Snicker stepped in from AAA and fit like a glove. Was that the next move after Cox? Was Brian Snicker? I do not remember that,
dude. It has what's the GM's name there? Antha
Yeah, Alex Antopoulos.
Antopoulos. Yeah, how long has he been there for?
I don't know. Why you think you want him?
No,
Too
well,
bad.
of course, I want the Padres to have him, but I'm just saying, like, if he was there during the Bobby Cox final years, I don't know if he was.
Yeah, I don't know about that,
but that's a culture thing. The culture from the top down, and it's pretty damn good there.
He's been there since 2017. Yeah, they got a great culture. Absolutely, they've been one of the best teams in baseball since he's been there. There's no question about it. But he says, okay, Snicker stepped in from AAA, fit like a glove, been doing great. Is there a minor league coach for the Padres they can fit in? I have no idea. I don't know how the perception is going to be. You're going to get rid of Melvin. See, the difference between Cox, Snicker in that analogy is Cox retired. I mean, Melvin's like 61, isn't he? He's not old. So, like, it'd be one thing if Melvin was truly stepping away. It's another thing if you force him out to go hire the San Antonio missions manager. That's a little odd, isn't it? I mean,
a little bit.
I don't know who's managing in AA or AAA. I have no idea. I should know, but I don't know.
Hold on. I want to, because I really want to put this poll up. Do you think I'm? What should I? Hold on. What should I say?
Oh Lord.
What
is Jim? What is Jim? And then put negative for one and honest for the other.
Probably gonna know it. Okay, hold on. My stupid computer is so slow. I need to buy a new computer.
You really do.
I mean, this is from 2019. Or no,
it's from before that, isn't it?
It's like 2015, actually.
2015, dude. It's like Preller got the job, and you're like, I need a computer. You've been waiting for him to get fired to get a new computer.
Right. This computer, I keep this computer as long as Preller is the GM and president of baseball operations with the Padres.
Well, then you might have it freaking when you're a grandfather.
All right, hold on. Here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Start a poll. What is Jim?
Negative? Honest? Both? Neither? Or just negative and honest?
Negative / toxic. I hate him. Hate him. Or honest. Okay. I won't say
it's up.
There we go.
It's up there?
Yeah.
What is Jim? Negative / toxic or honest? Okay. Keep me updated on how that goes. give it 5 minutes. Vote on that. It's pinned at the top of the chat. If you're here, thank you. Subscribe. If you're here, thank you for the supers like Murray. Just click the $ below the chat box. Murray says, watching wrap-up show on big screen and playing. What is this? Mahang? With code Red Mountain Dew. I'm loving life. Hope everybody else is too. Do you know what that is? MAHJONG? What is that? Is that a game?
I don't know.
Sounds cool, though. Murray, thank you, man, for hanging out late night
This
here
is
on the West Coast.
it, Miles.
What? Correct. How many people are watching us right now live on the East Coast? Anyone watching live on the East Coast right now? 2 a.m, spending your 2 a.m. with us? Rich blames Aaron.
No, she's a saint. You can't blame her for anything.
We're going to get back to the Supers in 1 second. Let us know where you're watching from right now. And while you do that, we
Chinese
do want
card
to thank
game.
our partners. Okay. I want to thank our partner at Aura. They are located right here in San Diego. Their co-founder, Will, is a huge lifelong Padres fan, a native San Diegan. Offices right here in Liberty Station, where Jim did dinner tonight, by the way, with Aaron and family. ORA.organic, plant-based nutritional supplements. They've got them for you. All their products are plant-based. I take their probiotic every day, have for a year and a half. It's an amazing product for digestion. If you have any digestion needs, any probiotic needs, you should be taking this probiotic from Aura. ORA.organic. They have pre-workout supplements, proteins for after workouts, omega-3 oils. If you're taking a fish oil, you can take their omega-3 oil. It's plant-based. They have sleep pills, immunity pills, and more. Shop at ORA.organic or click the link in the description down below. If you're looking to get healthier, you got to go to Aura. If you want to support this channel, make sure to check them out. Click the link in the description down below or go to ORA.organic. Shop as you watch or listen to the wrap-up show. And again, please support our channel and support our partners, especially our local partners like our buddy Will at Aura.
Yeah, go there right now, www.ora.organic. They have everything you need to live a healthy lifestyle. If you are thinking about starting to take some supplements to become healthier, Aura is the best place to go. All of their supplements are plant-based and organic. If you love to work out and you want a pre-workout, they have the best pre-workout out there. Raspberry lemonade flavor. It's delicious. Go there right now, www.ora.organic. And once you take it, tell us how you feel. But I guarantee you will thank us later.
No doubt. No doubt. Thank you, Aura. All right. What's the result of your poll?
56% say that I'm honest.
Oh, good. So more people think you're honest than toxic. That's nice.
44%
Only 44% of the people think you're toxic and negative.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good, dude. You don't lose sleep. Carlos, thank you again. He says Preller needs to go. Resign Hader, buy Snell, extend Soto. I'm all for extending Soto. I don't know.
What's up, dude? Carlos hasn't been in the chat for a long time.
It's good to have Carlos here, dude. Carlos, where have you been? Working?
Carlos was doing the wrap-up show. Every game, it would be. You think I'd get emotional?
Oh, yeah. Carlos and Jim are like BFFs.
Dude, if we had a wrap-up show together, I'm Carlos, holy shit.
Again, Carlos is Carlos is honest. Carlos wants to see this team succeed, and he's upset that they haven't.
Dude, I was when I was back in and I'll get to Carlos in a second here. When I was back in Jersey, we were watching the Padres Phillies game on TV, and Aaron's dad, right? I mean, this is true East Coaster. Phillies are up like 6-0, right? They're just killing the Rich Hill. And I think like Castellanos like struck out. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was like so upset about it.
That's amazing.
And I was like, dude, they're up 6-0.
Like, dude, they're fine.
It's just a different type of fandom over on the, I mean, it's just totally different. Like, you know, they're up 8-0 and guy grounds out to first and he's like, come on. Like, it was just so funny to like witness the type of different fandom there is on the East Coast.
Great story. All right. What would you like to respond to, Carlos?
Shut up. I wouldn't resign Hader because I would never sign a closer to that much money. I wouldn't sign Snell for the amount of money that he's going to get and want. And I would definitely extend Soto. And yes, Preller needs to go, even though he won't.
Yeah, I'm not keeping Hader. I'm all for extending Soto, and I'm all for Snell walking. So I'm with you at least 2/3 of the way there, Carlos. Hader, I mean, if there was a value, I don't see it as a value, unfortunately. Coming off this type of year, the Edwin Diaz deal, I just don't see it. I really don't, as a value. By the way, has anyone seen Venus McChicken? I saw that name in the chat. It's been a while since Venus McChicken. Who else has not been in the chat for a while? Put it in the chat.
What the fuck? Why'd you think that?
Well, because you mentioned, you're like, we haven't seen Carlos for a while. I'm like, I haven't seen Venus McChicken.
You haven't said Venus McChicken.
Where's Venus McChicken been? HBVV says HSK needs a gold membership to Hong Kong's in TJ. Why?
Yeah,
Will
why?
Kim play again for the rest of the year or not?
I don't know. He's hurting, man. I don't think
so. You got
will.
no Kim, you got no Cronenworth, you got no Musgrove, you got no Darvish, and it's like the best they've played.
Well, it's because you have an infusion of like young talent mixed with
Richard Simmons.
Oh God, mixed with like guys getting multiple playing time, and it's not just the same lineup every single night, and it's not the same guys every single night, and it also helps that they're playing the A's and the Rockies too.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yep, probably helps that they're out of it. There's less pressure.
Yeah. Adam asked a question.
Machado wasn't in the lineup.
Adam asked a question, and I think we talked about it today on John and Jim. It's a perfectly legitimate question to be asked about Peter Seidler's health. Mm-hmm. And while the first thing that should matter to Peter Seidler right now is his health, like Padres are a definite second, I do think it plays a role in things going forward. If Peter was healthy, who knows, right? But I do think that, and we were going to talk about this yesterday, but the Manny stuff happened with his injury. And I mentioned it on John and Jim. Like, this to me, while if everything was fine and if Peter was fully healthy, which you hope he gets to that point, there was a slight chance that maybe things would change, that maybe he would realize like that AJ is the problem, and maybe he would understand that, like, okay, yeah, I can't keep doing this. But because of what Peter is going through right now, it is very less likely, if almost virtually impossible, that a major change is made from Peter, because the type of time and effort it would take to need to replace Preller and to go out and talk to people about who is a good, and like really just like dive in head first on finding the next president of baseball operations would take a lot of effort for somebody who right now needs to be focusing on his health. So, yeah.
On the other side of the conversation is Tim, recognizing how long we've been on the air tonight. But it's amazing what you can do in like an hour.
It's amazing what you can do in like
if you maximize your time, you can get a lot done. You can get a lot done in an hour.
You can get a lot done in about 3 minutes, you know what I'm saying?
I don't. I guess I do. But, there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of things you can do. Thank you, Tim, for hanging out. Oh, yeah, Jim. Thank you, Rich. Where'd you go, Stoner Buena Forqueta tonight? Or neither?
We actually pulled an audible, didn't go neither.
What?
We went an easy route. We went to Yard House.
Where is that again? Is that South Park?
No, that is in by the mall. Mission Valley Mall. I like that place a lot. It's really good.
I do too. I just didn't expect you to go there with Dad. Just because you said you're going to Buena Forqueta.
Well, we were, but
it's just easier.
This place is easier, and it had more options. It had pizza and burgers and salads, and not saying that Buena Forqueta didn't have salads or Stone didn't have those things, but my dad and my stepmom, they don't drink, so
neither do I really. Occasionally,
just kombucha,
like a drink. Kevin, real one, 2 a.m. That's like later than it is here.
Thanks for joining us, Kevin. Appreciate it.
2 a.m., man. This team's 4 games under 500. Padres fans, man. I tell you, Padres fans have been incredible. I'm not kidding when I say that. You've heard me say that a lot this year. Yep. Like, we got hundreds of people here live. We got thousands of people that watched on replay. You got 40,000 people at Petcar or somewhere near that, whatever. Yeah. You got people watching at 2 a.m. talking about Ken Rosenthal articles and Marty Caswell conversations with the GM, right? People are into it, right? And that's the benefit the Padres have. Everyone's all in. Mm-hmm. They just got to figure this thing out. They got to make sure that they have a level of success sustained. And right now they haven't figured that part of it out. People are still on board. Imagine if they actually became like fully competent. Not to say they're fully incompetent. I don't think that's fair. But if they were like, they don't have to be Atlanta, they don't have to be Houston, they don't have to be the Dodgers. But I don't know, just a semblance of an organization that consistently wins.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, I don't know.
Would be nice.
St. Louis, maybe next year. Maybe not.
That's not very nice. Great friends.
What happened?
This is uncalled for.
Oh, wow.
Jim, are you going to shave that crappy beard for your wedding?
You've had a beard for since you're 6 or something, you said.
Yeah. I came out of the womb with a beard. Are you going to have that? I don't give a shit.
That's a really good question, though. Jim will definitely have a beard for the wedding. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah. Bet the house on that one. Minus $1 billion.
Right. Exactly. If you've had it, imagine if you just shaved the day before, you'd look so different.
She'd also kill me.
Would she?
Yeah. And I would hate myself.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God, dude. The first look turns into.
You fake it somehow. You should pretend
there was an app one time where you could take a video of your face and it shows you without a beard. And I was like, oh God.
It's like the time that Jim sent me a picture of himself. He's like, yo, this girl's hitting on me on Instagram. And it was just a girl version of Jim that he used some app and he wanted me to say this girl was hot. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Whatever you're saying.
Look, great friends. I said this the other night. The only way I shave my beard is the Padres make the World Series this year.
Whoa. These comments are off the rails, which means we're probably somebody said third hit piece is what this team needs right now. The hit pieces are this team is motivated off these articles, which aren't hit pieces, but whatever. Guys, if you're here again, the best place to play fantasy sports is with our partner Underdog Fantasy. UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. They've got this featured pick'em going on right now, where they're giving you a pick'em. Will Daniel Jones throw for 1 or more yards? Yes, he will against the Giants. No, not the Giants. What's San Francisco's team name? The Niners. New York is the Giants. Did you know that? How about this? San Francisco has a Giants and they have a Niners, but the Giants are in San Francisco. John facts. Anyway, if Daniel Jones throws for more than half a yard, you get one pick'em, and then figure out the rest. Right? You could pick Tyreek Hill to have higher than 91.5 total yards or not, or higher than 90.5 receiving yards. Simple as that. $20 wager, pay $60. They're giving you half of that. UnderdogFantasy.com. Their drafts are going on right now. MLB, NFL, obviously, week 3 action, whatever it is. Draft starting at $3. NFL, MLB, Pick'ems, UnderdogFantasy.com. They're giving you a pick'em right now. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That is PADSWRAP. NFL is back. Take advantage at UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. What's the poll?
Dude.
Why are you talking like that?
Dude?
What does the poll say?
Well, because Chad wanted me to talk and say dude in coach's voice.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, do you want to do any impressions since we've been here for 2 hours?
Sup, dude? I can't even do coach's voice in dude. Dude?
By the way, thank you guys for getting us over 1,000 subs. We said that last night on John and Jim.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. The poll right now stands at 58% honest.
Oh my gosh,
42% say that I'm negative and toxic.
That's not too bad. 42%. That's not terrible.
Hey man, this is an election. I win.
Exactly. That's exactly right. All right, that's it for tonight. We're back tomorrow at 3. San Diego Sports 760, iHeartRadio app, YouTube. Search for John and Jim 760. Click the link in the description down below. Find us on YouTube, John and Jim, every single weekday, 3 to 6, right here on YouTube, talking about, the Padres series finale against the Rockies, which kicks off at 1 o'clock tomorrow? Can the Padres sweep another series and make it 7 consecutive wins and keep those playoff hopes alive down the back stretch? We'll be talking about it tomorrow at 3 and then tomorrow night right here on the wrap-up show. All right, support our partners, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, our title sponsor. Whatever your insurance needs are, Mark can help you. He's been our title sponsor since day one. Click the link in the description down below. ORA.organic if you want to get healthier, plant-based nutritional products from ORA.organic. Click the link in the description down below. Underdog Fantasy, we just told you NFL is back. They are giving you a pick'em winner. Essentially, use promo code PADSWRAP, PADSWRAP. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Hopefully, Tim, another article tomorrow morning to get this team motivated to win.
And then John can tweet out, when will Jim wake up to respond to this? What's the over-under? 10:30?
I said 10:13, but I knew you'd be up. You're always up by like 9:40.
The next hit piece that comes out, or the next like breaking news, like Bob Melvin's been fired, that happens at like 7:30 a.m. and you tweet that out, I'm just not going to say anything, and then have everybody think that you're
dead.
Dead.
Like, but is anyone going to do like a wellness check? Like, is anyone going to be overly?
Everyone will be like, thank goodness.
All right, we'll see. The next time, man, what you know? You're such a liar. If Preller gets fired at 7 a.m., you got probably an automatic Preller fired alert, like set up in your phone to like set alarms off in your home.
I have a tweet already put in my drafts, ready to go. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
Dude, do you?
No, I don't.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 3. Peace out. Bye-bye.